Hello. This session I want to teach you how to convert a text to speech, and actually it is called text to speech conversion. In order to do that and have a good arrangement for my codes, first I have to add provider library, and as you remember we have talked about it previous session. So we are going to add provider 4.0.4 version. And also, I need Flutter TTS version of 1.0.0. But you might ask, what is Flutter TTS? Flutter TTS is the library used for converting text to speech. And as you remember from the previous session, provider is for arranging the codes that we are going to write today. So, using provider is optional, but my suggestion is that if you're writing a complex application with lots of codes, it is better to use provider to have a better arrangement. Now, I connect to internet, and after connecting to internet, I select package get. I have to wait so that library is imported. Remember that we need Android with an APA of about 21. And to use this library, you should go to Android folder. And in the Android folder, you should go to app folder and select build.grader. And then you have to change minimum SDK on 21 instead of 16. Then you can close the folder. Now we go to main and start our project. I have asked the application to run home. Now I enter a scaffold, and instead of a scaffold, I create a multiple provider and then define its providers. First, I should select it and then press Alt and Enter to import provider library. Then I select its providers, which is an arrangement, and then I have to retrieve change notifier provider class, and there's a method inside it which is called create, and I retrieve create, and then I ask to create a provider named data changing main.dart, data changing main.dart, and actually I copy the name and press OK here and paste the name here, and then I write data changing main class, which has been extended from change notifier, and then I place my codes here. Before placing my codes, I should enter main and change create to data changing main. Data changing main. And then I define a consumer, which is a child actually of the consumer type. And the consumer is of generic type. And it is from the data changing main class. Then I create a builder for it. And the builder has a context and a counter and a private parameter. And then I ask it to create a final variable. Yeah, it is going to create a final variable named connect to data changing main. Or we can actually change it to connect to backend, which equals provider of context no, sorry. We have to write it as provider of data changing main. And we have to give it a context. And this is true by default, and there is no need to change it. And after that, we should return. I have to create a class, for example, named my app. And then let me create my app. My app here, which has been extended from a stateful widget. And then I click on my app and overwrite the methods. I have to return here, sorry. I should change it to stateless widget, and then I have to convert it to stateful widget. And then I overwrite the method. Then I convert it to stateful widget. And after that, I have to create a variable data changing main and name it connect to backend. And then I ask it to create a constructor for my app. So I write require So required means something is needed. It means that before running my app, let me move this to top. It needs to set data changing of mine before retrieving, which is actually connect to backend. So and as you see, it says that I have to have connect to backend added here. So that's it. And then I come to our main class, and inside it, what should we do here? We should create a scaffold here, which has a body, or it can have an app bar. And yes, we have app bar, and the app bar should have a title. And the title is, for example, text. And inside the text, we should have flutter TTS. And after that, I create a body for that. And the body is single child school view. And inside it, the scroll direction is vertical. Actually, it is vertical by default, so there is no need to change the scroll direction. And it should have a child, and the child is actually a column. And this column should have several children, and the mainer and the container is actually placed in the children. Which includes padding. Because actually we want to have a distance between the top, so we create a padding top for that. And I write inset only top, for example 50. And it is better to create a child for that. And the child is actually a text field. And this text field has an unchanged. And when it is unchanged, we should add a string value for that. And this string value is actually the text that the user is going to type inside the text field. So it is a string value. And here we should write widget.connect to backend. And actually that is the connect to backend that we talked about in the previous class. We should define a function here, and I named it unchanged. And I should have defined it before, so I clean it and again I write it. I set a feature here, and the name is unchanged. When the user is typed his text and then pressed the button, the done, this should be retrieved. And the application is going to change it to new voice text. So new voice text equals, let's put a text here. So it is equal to text. Okay, that's it. So we enter main again. And we write connect to backend dot unchanged. We should retrieve that. And instead of text, we should put the value. And we write then, it means that after finishing this, it should do another task for us. For example, it should set a state something or type something, but set a state is better. So after being unchanged, it should set a state. And then we create another container. And inside it, we should again, I select the padding, and then I have insert all, and 50 is okay, and you can change it to only, but I select all, because you can change to whatever you like. And I select a child for that. And the child has a row. Then I define the children for that. And the children are two buttons that they are play and stop. So I place an icon button inside it. and we choose the icon from the icons. So icons.play, and the unpressed we have here. So this is a play button. When the user clicked on unpress, we should retrieve speak function. So we write widget.connect to backend.speech, and after retrieving speak, we should select set state. Now we create another icon button. I copy this, I place it inside another row, and instead of play, I change it to stop. And instead of speak here, I write stop. After the speaker stopped, it should set a state. We forgot something. We should have used init TTS inside init state. So we should retrieve it, and actually we should initialize it. So we write widget.connect to backend to connect TTS and init TTS, and it should set a state after connecting. That's it. Now I have to run the application to see what are the changes. Okay, this is our application. So I have to type something. For example, I type hello world here. So when we press that button, we hear. And actually, when the speaker finished, it showed completed to us. Now we want to talk about volume, pitch, and rate. Volume is actually the volume of the speaker. Pitch is actually the steps of the speaker, actually. And the rate is the speed of the speaking, actually. For example, I reduce the rate so that you can understand how it is affected. Let me hot restart. I delete this text. And I type hello world. Now I play. As you see that the speed of the speaker has reduced, yes? And while the person is speaking, if I press the stop, the voice will be stopped, yes? As you see. Just by pressing stop, the voice of the person is stopped. I hope you've enjoyed this session, and goodbye until next session.